Hello, hello, hello. In today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to be talking about questions every business leader should ask before approving the SEO budget. We are all aware that AI search is slowly reducing the clicks that people get to websites from organic channel. We also know that platforms like TikTok is taking away people's time and attention. And a lot of information people can get using ChatGPT, Perplexity, and other AI search platforms. Even Google AI search results page means that people can get information and answers to questions without actually going to a website. So what does this imply for your SEO budget? Should you reduce your SEO budget? Should you increase it? What can you do as a business leader to get those traffic that you're losing to AI search? In today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to be talking to business leaders and helping them craft questions that they need to ask. These questions will help your team think from a commercial perspective and think strategically. And these questions will also help you understand what you need to look out for when you're approving a SEO budget. The first question you need to ask your team before approving any SEO budget is, what are we paying for? I've seen situations where business leaders have no visibility of what the SEO agency or the in-house SEO team is working on. You really do not need to know the details, but you need to understand, is what they're working on having any impact to your bottom line? Does it have any link to revenue, to profit, or is it just vanity metrics? Because traditionally, the metrics that is being reported for SEO is ranking, but how do you report ranking when websites across the board is losing traffic to AI search? Not to mention that Google Ads and paid advertising is taking a huge chunk of the above the fold for Google search results. So as a business leader, the things you need to ask about is, how is the budget structured for technical SEO? What technical SEO means is, what portion of your SEO budget is allocated to your website technical infrastructure? So take, for example, like a car. You have a car needs to be serviced every year. It's similar to SEO, but in the context of your website, it needs to be consistently serviced, re-oiled, and maintained. That section is what is called technical SEO. Do you have a budget for that? And then another part of SEO is the content side of things. This gets a little bit tricky because sometimes teams will allocate budget to content, while some team will allocate budget to AI tool to produce those content. If your marketing is looking for budget to use AI to produce content, trust me, that's a recipe for disaster, and that would hurt your business negatively down the line. Then another part of SEO that is also linked to AI visibility is digital PR. You need to ask your team, what percentage of the budget do we have allocated to getting digital PR backlinks? What portion of the budget do we have for reporting? And the most important part as a business leader that you need to ask is, of the SEO budget, what portion of it are we paying for agency fees and agency support? How much does it cost for our in-house SEO team? I've seen situations where organizations pay between £5,000 to £25,000 per month to an agency. And the problem with that is sometimes the money you're paying, you're actually not getting the kind of result you should be getting, because most of the time, those agencies, and I'm not bashing agencies, but I'm talking from experience, agencies would take money from you, but they would not actually deliver the result that matches the money you're paying. So ask the question from your team before approving any SEO budget. How much are we paying the agency, and what exactly are we getting from it? So this leads me to the next question. What is the commercial result that the SEO budget will deliver? Agencies by default would like to bamboozle clients if you're not aware of how SEO works. They would just inundate you with technical gibberish, just say things to kind of confuse you, make it look like SEO is super complicated. But whatever the complication the SEO is, they need to be able to answer this simple question: what commercial results will the SEO budget give to us? By default, they would say, oh, we're going to get you to page 1 of Google and rank better for Google results. But ranking is no longer a relevant metric for SEO. Then the next question you need to ask is, okay, how does this budget going to impact on the visibility we have with AI search? And if you're a lead generation website, you need to be asking the question, how many leads would this budget get us? If you're approving a 12-month budget, or if it's a rolling contract, you need to ask this question: what is the revenue from organic that we should be expecting? What is the profit from organic search that we should be expecting? How many new customers should we expect to get from this SEO budget? When you ask these questions, then the agency will find it difficult to be bullshitting you with ranking metrics. They'll find it difficult to just act as if they're busy and hardworking, where you find a situation that all the work they're doing is actually having no impact. So you need to ask the question, okay, if we approve this budget, if it's a new SEO agency that you're working with or a new SEO budget that you're approving, you need to ask them how long before you start seeing results. Because SEO is a long game. It takes about 6 months to see meaningful results. But you need to ask them, okay, before that 6 months elapse, what are the monthly milestones, the quick wins that you would expect from this budget? If you do not ask this question, the agency will just take the money, take their retainer, because they try and tie you to a 12-month contract so you can't get out of the contract. Maybe you have a 3-month break clause, but you're not interested about the financial part. You're interested in the growth that the budget will bring. So you need to ask that question about the results, how quick you will get results from the SEO budget that you're approving. Then another question you need to ask is, because AI search is very, very new at this point, and it's easily a question where you ask, do we need to allocate new budget or extra budget to optimize for AI search, or should we maintain our existing budget? A lot of agencies have rebranded themselves as AI search first and all this malarkey, but the problem is AI search is still at its infancy, and it's not 100% trackable. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be investing in it. Then another question that you need to ask your team or your agency is, before you approve the budget, ask them the question, how does the SEO performance compare with the competitor? I've seen situations where an agency has been with organizations for like 4 years and they've literally had no improvement. But the problem is because that organization had a lot of paid search pushing the traffic, pushing the brand awareness. They also invested heavily in brand and other marketing channels, and that increased direct traffic to the website. So people started searching for the website address. But it's easy to attribute that to SEO. For someone that doesn't understand how marketing works, SEO is quick to claim credit for that. So if you're approving a SEO budget, you need to actually go into those important commercial pages. Ask the agency, how are we ranking compared to the competitors for important commercial and service pages? And what will this budget achieve in terms of closing the gap or maintaining your current SEO revenue profit that you're getting? I worked with an organization a while back, and they've been measuring costs per click, cost per acquisition, cost per lead, but they've never, ever measured the cost per acquisition for SEO, which is mind-boggling. So whilst your paid search is reporting on payback period, cost per acquisition, cost per click, you need to ask your team before you approve any SEO budget that, okay, how much is our organic cost per click, and what is the payback period of our organic traffic? What is the organic profit per customers? So these are the important questions you need to think as a business leader, a CMO, a CFO, a commercial director, or sales director. You need to ask that. And most instances, SEO works in isolation of Google Ads. The people that manage Google Ads, that approve Google Ads budget, sometimes don't have visibility of SEO, don't even have the skill for SEO. And the same applies, it's vice versa. SEO teams sometimes don't have an understanding of how Google Ads work. This is why it's important that you should have both budgets talking to each other. Do not approve a Google Ads budget in isolation of an SEO budget, and do not approve SEO budget in isolation of a Google Ads budget. If it's possible as a business leader, have them both in a single budget. What this means is you need to be able to see how much you're investing in Google Ads and how SEO can cover for some of those costs. The goal of SEO is to reduce the costs and the money you spend on Google Ads. In some products or in some niches and in some search terms, you would need to invest Google Ads to get traffic. But in the ones that there is not as much competition or areas where your website is very, very strong, then you need to consider that synergy between SEO and Google Ads. Now, let's talk about the mistake business leaders make when they're approving SEO budgets. This is not about the questions you should ask, but this is more about the mistakes that you should be aware of that you are possibly making. One thing I've seen is when it comes to SEO budgets, most times business leaders don't even get visibility of the SEO budgets. It just gets rolled over. It's just, we spent X amount on SEO last year, we'll just roll it over. There is no consideration to, do we actually need to increase the SEO budget? You're losing traffic to AI search. You're losing even traffic and real estate to Google Ads. How can you maintain a growth trajectory for your SEO? Is by making sure that you look at increasing your SEO budget. Cutting down on your SEO budget means that you're cutting down on the customer that you acquire organically. And one thing I need you to understand is traffic from SEO is cheaper, because if it costs you $50 or £50 to get a click, you can get those clicks organically from SEO, which brings down your overall customer acquisition cost. Because whilst you have customer acquisition costs for organic search, you have customer acquisition cost for SEO, you also have a unified customer acquisition cost for your marketing channel. So if you're looking to bring down the cost of acquiring new customers, keeping those customers, and even getting customers from your competitors to come to you, you need to look at increasing your SEO budget. And I mentioned earlier on, are you looking at the metrics? As a business leader, you need to pay good attention to the commercial outcome SEO is going to give to you. When you're approving an SEO budget, you need to look at, okay, how many leads are we going to get? How is SEO going to help reduce paid advertising cost? And then you need to look at, okay, what does the current SEO landscape look at? And how are you going to gain ground in AI search? So these are the important things that you need to consider as a business leader. And you need to ask yourself the question as well, is SEO an investment that we should continue, or is this something that we should look at diversifying? SEO doesn't happen in Google anymore. There's this conversation about search everywhere. People now use TikTok as a search engine. YouTube is the second largest search engine. Whilst it's not text, it's video based. You need to look at, are you investing in video SEO? I will tell you 90% of the clients I work in, before I joined them, I've never considered investing in YouTube SEO. And some of them cannot, because it requires video production capability. It requires a different type of content production process. So if you're a business leader, you need to ask yourself all these important questions. Let me run through the questions again. You need to ask your team, what are you paying for when it comes to SEO? What is the commercial value that you're going to be getting from the SEO budget? And how long will it take for you to start seeing results from SEO? You need to ask your team, what is your visibility in AI search? And you need to ask them, how does your SEO performance compare to the competitor? How much more do you need to invest in SEO to cover the gap that you have with your competitor? My name is Femi Olajiga. I help small businesses manage their SEO. If you're looking for a fractional growth marketing consultant, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. SEO is not going anywhere, but it's evolving and it's improving. Another thing I didn't mention is SEO tools. Part of your budget for SEO would have tools. These tools have been very, very expensive by default. But with the introduction of Claude and other automation softwares, some of the tools that you pay exceeding amounts for, you will not need them anymore. So whilst you're looking at your SEO budget, you should also consider how much you're paying for tools. The question then is, should we reduce the cost of tools for SEO and look at leveraging AI tools like Claude that would do a better job than SEO tool? What I'm saying here is not necessarily that you should eliminate all the tools, but you can shrink the number of SEO tools that you need. You will definitely need some SEO solutions that look at AI search visibility. But when it comes to like keyword research and other tools, you can use AI software solution, which also brings down the cost. So if you're looking at in-housing your SEO, looking at improving the performance of your SEO by aligning SEO with Google Ads, reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you. My name is Femi Olajiga. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Femi Olajiga. You can DM me on social media, and you can follow me, follow the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube, and I'll be looking forward to helping you. In the next episode of the podcast, I'm going to be talking about brand strategy, and this is also important from an SEO perspective as well. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.